Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made up word.
It's gonna give it to you. What? Fuck waiting for you to get in your own. It's gonna deliver it to you. Knock knock, wake up to your mud, it's real. With non-stop pop-up of Gilgamesh's steel. Go hard getting busy with it. Biddy was it. But Kingo got such a good heart that'll make the motherfucker wonder what if he did. He recorded it with a camera.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that one was terrible, but I thought it was funny.
Really?
That's all that matters.
That's what you went. That's what we're going with for this one.
Well, I mean, Eternals, X gonna give it to you.
Sooner or
There's not
later.
an X in Eternals, but
Externals.
get it?
If they're no longer an eternal, then they're an external.
External.
That means they're out.
They're out. Well, welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are two 30 to 40-something-year-olds to talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And if you guys would like to hang out with us live or interact more, first off, join the Discord. Links in the show notes down below. Like and subscribe to the videos or audio or whichever platform you're listening on, whether it be YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Follow that. Help us with the algorithm. Join the Discord below. Join the conversation. Got lots of channels and things to talk about. All kinds of things nerdy. Hence the name of the show. That helps.
Nerdy.
And also, if you want to, check us out live and in person, we also stream on Twitch. You can find Chris over there at Guyver Unit 01. That's GUYVERUNTT01 on Twitch. And you can find me, Kasich, K_SIG on Twitch. We play together every Friday and Saturday, doing random indie games, horror games, whatever our fancy is grabbed by at the moment. It's fun to hang out and watch us, get scared. Chris more so than me. I don't ever get scared, ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's never happened once.
Yeah, I think there's two clips from this weekend where that says otherwise.
We sounded like a really shitty version of the Count off of Sesame Street. Like it was like we were at a Count convention. Like we had our own little booth. Like
Except there was four of us.
Mm-hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4 scared nerds.
I think Kyle goes, ma'am,
ma'am, ghost ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, needless to say, we got the shit scared out of us.
We did.
This game's got good jump scares.
I peed a bit. So it was a good time. So yeah, you guys come hang out with us and check that out and do things. And like we're open as long as we got the slots open and nobody's committed to it. We've got people in the community that play with us all the time. So if you guys want to do that, hop in.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are we talking about today?
I don't know.
I thought we were talking about the internals.
The internals. The lesser known heroes from yeah. That was from that Marvel / Magic School Bus crossover issue where they went inside and
they went inside a Celestial's butthole.
Yeah. Here you see Max Polyps through the.
Oh no! What is it? He has a tapeworm.
Oh,
God,
what's
can
that?
you imagine the tapeworm in that?
What is that scary thing all the way up the top?
Gingivitis.
He needs to brush.
We're gonna talk. Okay, we're gonna talk about the Eternals now. Before you turn off the episode, because the movie got some mixed reviews. We're gonna be honest and call it like it is because that's how it looks like out there. I personally was okay with it.
I liked it.
Chris thought it was the best movie ever.
I didn't think it was the best movie ever.
He told me in confidence over the weekend.
It was slow as shit, but
Very slow.
I liked it. I liked it because it was different.
It was different. And there's already people that, I mean, it's been out for a little bit. People have already talked about the movie ad nauseum through the whole thing, like just really broke it down. We're not going to nerky this one because we'd be here until like June.
It would take us, literally, it would take us 3 days.
It's a long ass movie. So we're not going to do our normal nerky thing, but there is something that I think, and I think Chris agrees with me, is special about this movie is the implications, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the meat of the movie is okay. There's some cool stuff that happened. We'll talk a little bit about that, but there are so many things that are, you know, if you go back to our last 2 episodes were rumors, part 1 and part 2, because we rambled for a long freaking time on those 2, and they're great. You should listen to them if you're not.
Yeah.
Pause this, go back, listen
to it.
Yeah. Chove. But this kind of follows along with that because there's a lot of little things that came up in this movie that I didn't know. You know, like it's pretty well known through the episodes of the show that Chris knows the comics. I know what's happening when the movies start coming out, and I haven't read a whole lot of the comics, but I'm learning because I'm doing research for these episodes as we do them. Or Chris is like, hey, what do you think about this? And then I'll go down a damn rabbit hole and I'll come back and throw stuff at him. He's like, I don't remember that. Now I remember that. You know, so it's from
hard
what
to
I've
remember
got.
Everything.
He remembers everything. He's like an elephant and Santa Claus had a baby. And
Elephant and Santa Claus.
Mm-hmm. Old Saint Pachydermis. Pachydermis?
Dermaclaus.
Saint Nicolafant?
Dermaclaus, and he brings you skincare products.
Yeah. Oh, that.
Dermaclaus. Pachydermis.
You're getting a lump of rosacea.
What are you getting? I got Gold Bond.
I got eczema. Skin conditions. It's a thing. I got a lotion up in the wintertime or I get all brittle. Anyway, where are we going? We went off on a really weird thing there.
About skincare.
Mm-hmm. Skincare products and such.
Okay. So anyways, we will be talking about shit from the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, cool, whatever. You can turn it off if you don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, we're going to spoil everything.
We do spoil everything. But you got to also remember, too, lots of people have seen it now. So the time period's been long enough. We're going to talk about it. So with that, let's go into comic history.
Yeah, we got the spoiler thing addressed, and the Eternals have been around for a while. In comic book form and stuff, they've been around forever. In like the story, in the book, they've been around for a little bit, just not well known, I guess. They're odd.
They're bigger in like 70s, 80s ish. Then they kind of fell off for a little bit, but then they got picked back up again for another run. It was like 2000 something.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might have it in the notes somewhere, but then they started gaining traction again. But then they started retconning some shit. So really popular characters, then you find out that they're part of the Eternals race.
So, I mean, it's odd that they're a weird choice to kind of thrust in there. They almost felt like a filler.
Yep.
But this movie changed everything about what we knew about the history of Earth in the MCU. And apparently it's debatable now of which universe this actually is, because some Marvel execs have actually said the MCU is 616 and not 1999991 and 5 nines.
He doesn't mean no. He's not talking German.
Not the German.
But it's so in the comics, Earth, you guys have, for those of you who have been with us for a while, you know that we've talked about this, like especially with when WandaVision started.
Yeah.
Earth 616 is Earth Prime. That's where the multiverse branches off from. Like anything that happens in 616, that's what creates new realities. So that's the Prime Earth. And I didn't know this, but yeah, Kyle was telling me that some exec has said the MCU is actually 616, which before they've said it's not.
So, I want to build off of that for just a second while we can. I wonder if the meaning and the reasoning behind that is that's familiar as being Earth Prime.
Mm-hmm.
And in this realm, and the MCU is its own thing, Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
And so that they're saying that what we're seeing here is the equivalent to the comic 616, because we're about to have multiverse stuff. We're going to have all these things branching off.
Oh,
and just to make it easier to understand. I mean, because 616 is a hell of a lot easier than Earth 1999999.
No.
I mean, I could get behind that, I guess. You know, if you have MCU Earth 616, you have comics Earth 616, that's not so bad.
He's not so bad.
It's not so bad.
He's not bad.
But yeah, so there was, I don't know, from what I gathered, like not super popular, not mega well known, but the things that happen in this movie gives us origins to like everything.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. I mean, we find out like where the humans came from, where some of the, where the Eternals came from is like better than humans. We found out Earth's pregnant. That's cool. We it's been pregnant for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And it has sparked the debate of, was Thanos really a bad guy? There's something
he's a megalomaniac fuckhead.
We'll get to that.
Even in the comics.
In the comics. I'm talking about MCU Thanos. We'll get to this and that and the crossovers and things here, because I got some stuff that's going to make you think a little bit. I don't even have it on the list. I want to throw you a curveball here in a little while. I'll probably forget about it.
You probably will. And then it'll come up and I'll go, what the fuck are you talking about?
We'll be in the after show thing. I'm like, oh, God, I forgot the thing. Anyway, we'll do like a quick brief history of, hold on, I'm going to pour a little bit of tea here. It's totally tea.
Quote unquote tea.
Oh, I corked my beard in my bottle. Okay.
I guess that's better. Is that the same pain as like getting your wiener or your balls caught in your zipper?
Similar.
Does it actually? Well, I guess it's the same consistency as your pubes.
One day when your real beard comes in,
someday I'll have a real beard.
So, the Eternals comic history originally started. So in 1970, Jack Kirby left Marvel, went to work for DC, and he began the saga of the New Gods. And I've heard you talk about New Gods.
Yep.
Several times.
Yep. So you got to remember too, Jack Kirby is literally a god in the comic industry too. Mm. Like some of your favorite stuff that you didn't even know about might have been created by Jack Kirby.
Give us some examples, Chris.
So Kirby was one of the driving forces, of course, Eternals. He also did, now you put me on the spot and I can't fucking remember. Hold on. He also did, he had a hand in the Avengers too. He did the New Gods. He was old when he died too. I didn't know he was born in 1917.
Whoa.
Yeah. He did a lot of the Marvel comics in the Silver Age. Like Fantastic Four is one of his. He had a hand in Fantastic Four.
With Captain America, Shannon Carter.
Captain America. Silver Surfer was one of his.
Looking to see who else that he had made. Dr. Doom.
His collaboration was Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Black Panther, Uatu the Watcher. Yeah, Dr. Doom, you said. Ego the Living Planet, the Inhumans.
Galactus.
And Black Panther.
What what else did he do? Jean Grey was his making.
I didn't know that was Jean Grey.
Yep. Oh, the Limbo champion Hermes. No, it's different.
Huh.
God, this list is so long. Iron Man.
Yeah.
Just like of the creatures he created, Juggernaut. You know, I'm just
Juggernaut was his.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that one.
According to Comic Vine, they got a long list. You know, Magneto, Man Thing, and Manhunter. I know Man Thing is like one of your.
Oh, I love Man Thing.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, Man Thing. I forgot about that. But yeah, he was pretty awesome. I really, really liked him. Machine Man, who I hope they'll bring into MCU at some point. And Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur is rumored to be coming to the MCU.
Devil Dinosaur?
Yes. Because they're working on a show for Disney Plus, I believe. Like Devil Dinosaur is awesome. Think of a T-Rex that's big, red, and has like a little ape-like creature that rides him named Moon Boy.
So there's Secret Warriors that Devil Dinosaur popped in. And is that tied to... It's not tied to Secret Wars.
No.
That's different. Okay, I see here. Oh, yeah, he's big and he's red.
Mm-hmm.
He wears a smoking jacket occasionally, apparently, so I'm guessing he's intelligent.
He lives in the Savage Land.
Wolverine and Moon Boy riding dog. Okay. Oh, he's like, his eyes kind of look like they're like horns.
Yeah.
And
cool looking, isn't he?
So it's rumored. Okay, so here we go. So it's rumored because of his appearance that that Devil Dinosaur will possibly make an appearance soon in the MCU, but will actually be revealed to be Mephisto. Huh. I'll be damned. It's right there on the internet.
Check.
Gotcha.
Over here, check. Check. Right. Fuck off.
There we go.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, right. No, I knew about that, but then I'm like, oh, yeah, and then there's Mephisto.
There's Mephisto when you least expect him.
Hold on. Hey, can you get this out?
Oh, where you got hooked in there? Yeah, when you took a hook line, the sinker's in there too.
Kyle just wiggles his worm in front of me, and no, wait, that's not right.
Nah, that's right. So he made Jack Kirby made
most
new
action
gods.
Kyle's seen in a while.
Made new gods over at DC. Which got abruptly canceled before the stories and the arcs got appropriate endings. And that's important. It's important because it comes up again. He had at this time in his career, had a really high interest in high concept sci-fi. You think high concept sci-fi, this is the 70s and 80s. This is the times of, Star Trek was getting big. Star Wars was on the horizon. Like, this is a time frame where this type of sci-fi was cool.
Yep. So you got to also remember too, Kirby is kind of considered the father of the cosmic comic.
Okay.
Like, because if you remember Fantastic Four, where'd they get their powers? Cosmic radiation.
Space
New
powers.
Gods, space. Eternals. Space. Silver Surfer. Power cosmic.
Okay.
So yeah, he's kind of he's kind of considered the father of the cosmic comics. And then he did a lot of shit that wasn't DC and Marvel too that were really good. But yeah. Continue.
So hold on, there's one I want to look up here. Clickety clack. Was he created? Did he? Oh no. Okay. For some reason, I was thinking he also created Howard the Duck, but that was somebody else. And so he had this interest. He left DC, goes back to Marvel, and what we know now as the Eternals originally started off as the Celestials. It's going to be hard for me to say that throughout this whole episode, but we'll power through it. That eventually changed its name to Return of the Gods before settling on the name the Eternals. They had a off of the Return of the Gods name to avoid legal issues. There was a book that was in a similar style called Chariots of the Gods, that was written by Eric von Daniken. That they're looking at some potential legal trouble there, so they end up settling on the Eternals. Now, this comes up all the time because of trends and things like this. DC and Marvel mimic each other in superheroes and whatever's cool of the times and all that. And they're, the Eternals are of the time thematically similar to New Gods.
New Gods. They are.
I don't
the
know
New Gods.
anything about New Gods.
Yeah, you do. You know more than you think you do.
No, I don't know anything. I'm sticking by that.
You know more than you think.
I know
you do.
nothing.
Do you remember? You watched the cartoon series of Justice League.
So,
you remember that?
I didn't watch a lot of it, but
we have all of them, and you can watch it.
I don't.
But it's
we
in
don't
it.
have time. Okay.
Okay. So, some of the characters in there you'll recognize are New Gods.
Okay.
Like that were in there. Mr. Miracle, he's in there. Big Barda, she's a New God. Oh, what's his name? I can picture him right now, but I cannot remember his name. He's got the helmet. He's Darkseid's son.
Darkseid Jr. Went to college.
Why can I not remember his name right now?
The themes of New God were similar to Eternals, right? I mean, you'll agree on that. Okay.
Oh, 100%.
But also, and this is where the earlier thing comes back into play, the original Eternals saga was also cut short and canceled without full resolution of the plots that were set out in the story. And it just kind of sat there for a while. There were some brief appearances of the Eternals in Thor, and they were kind of mentioned here and there, just a little filler stuff through comics. Until 1985, they came back as a full 12-issue miniseries run. And then it kind of quiet again for a while until about 2000. There's a one-shot comic called New Eternals Apocalypse, now #1, which had the Eternals face off against one of the X-Men's big bad, Apocalypse. And then it got rebooted again for the Max run of comics, which are, correct me if I'm wrong here, kind of focused more towards like mature adult readers.
The Max run was late 90s, early 2000s, if I remember correctly. And it was like the brutal era. That's the Max run is when Garth Ennis, creator of The Boys, did his run on The Punisher.
Okay.
We've said it before. We'll say it again. The Boys in the comics, if you think it's brutal watching the Amazon Prime show, that's like watching Mickey Mouse compared to the comics.
I'm pretty sure there were some Mickey Mouse episodes back in the day that were like,
oh, I'm sure there were, but
should you be doing that, Mickey? Should you be hanging out in Poland? No? Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that's it.
Yeah. And so they had a run in Max in the Max run, and then there was a miniseries in 2006. That's what brought the Eternals into the more modern Marvel universe. And there was a 4-series in 2008, 2009 that ran for like 9 issues. And then they returned in Jason Aaron's Avengers in a story arc involving the Dark Celestials, which they were all killed, but in normal comic book fashion, they were resurrected again in another series in 2021. So now you're up to speed, listeners.
For the most part.
For the most part. That's the high flyover. But what is vital, I think, to the Eternal storyline, just from what I've seen and what I've been reading and trying to get backstory and stuff, is, to me, what's more important than the Eternals being introduced in the Eternals movie are the Celestials being introduced in the Eternals movie. I think that has way further reaching ramifications than the Eternals being introduced.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be able to introduce one without the other, though.
No.
But I think the Celestials are way more important. And
the long run.
I feel that they lie in a very gray area. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but after going back, and if everything that I've read and everything that I watched from the movie and seen, like, they're not villains and they're not heroes. They're just there to continue things.
They are Celestials or cosmic balance.
Yes.
They're not good. They're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're world shapers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are. They create life. They create worlds. That's what they do. Well, not all of them. Okay, so Galactus is a Celestial.
Okay.
But Galactus isn't a Celestial from our universe. Galactus, he's not that blobby shit from Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer. I'm hoping we get to see Galactus now that we've been introduced to Celestials. Galactus is known as the World Eater. Cool costume. He's from a universe that died. He was the last Celestial from his universe. And he came over to ours. He eats whole planets for his food. So Galactus is a Celestial. They play a bigger part in the whole grand scheme of things. That's why they're considered gods.
You talked earlier about a whole retcon thing. Now, Galactus is older in as far as being introduced in comics and things. He was introduced before the Eternals or Celestials were.
Yep.
So was he retconned to be a Celestial?
You mean in the movies or in the comic?
In the comics.
In the comics? Yeah, I would say yes, because they didn't introduce him as a Celestial.
His first appearance in the comic,
Fantastic Four,
in the 60s.
Yeah,
pre-Celestials.
Pre-Celestials. So yeah,
but also a creation of Jack Kirby.
Right. So they kind of retconned him. Nothing's ever officially been said. I don't think. Don't quote me on that one. But because they just introduced him. The ultimate nullifier. Yeah, that's the thing that he's afraid of. That's what the Fantastic Four always fights for, to get him to go away, because it erases you out of his existence. So they kind of retconned it to where he's not his own little race. He's part of a bigger picture, if that makes sense.
Okay. So where the Celestials become important in the MCU is basically from the beginnings of humans as we know it. And so the way it was explained through the movie, and I guess kind of through the comics as well, is in the before times, in the way backs, there were a race of proto-humans, what they were called. So the Celestials performed genetic experiments on this race, and these experiments resulted in the Eternals being created. Mm-hmm. Super powerful, known for having a very long lifespan, hence their name. The experiments caused them to have different forms of powers and things. We'll go through the ones that we saw in the movie and their powers, but also created the Deviants. And these experiments, this is what's one of the big things. We talked about the implications and the things that this movie brought about are bigger than the movie itself. The possibility of mutations and mutants from these genetic experiments. It's thought that these experiments that led to the Eternals also created the X gene that is just kind of laying in wait, and that maybe the snap or maybe the events of the movie caused that the release of the energy caused that gene to become active, and now we're going to have mutants, or they've been there all along and this is going to bring them about. So that's what's going to be interesting to see.
Right. Well, and so the Deviants are different in the comics than they were in the movies. The Deviants, they were the changing people. They were kind of the earlier experiments of the Celestials. And in the comics, Thanos is a deviant. That's why his skin's purple.
He was like an Eternal gone wrong? More.
I'm trying to remember his history. It's like the deviants are. I mean, they're Eternals. They're just an offshoot of the Eternals.
Because I think I know what you're talking about, and it all goes back to Eros being a Eternal,
right,
and being the brother of Thanos, being a blood brother, I believe. Well, quote unquote, blood brother of Thanos, and that's where Thanos went wrong. That's why his appearance is the way he is. That's why he's a shithead. And we'll dive off. We'll go ahead and dive off the Thanos theory now if we want to.
Well, Thanos. So he's an Eternal, but he carries the gene for the deviants,
right?
And which makes him like extremely, extremely rare. Hold on, I gotta look this part up because I vaguely remember the storyline. Like they dove into it, and it was a really, really cool storyline. He's not. He's an Eternal. So the Eternals and Deviants, yeah, they're two completely different races, both created by the Celestials. I can't find it. I just had it marked so we could talk about it. I mean, they're basically the Deviants are just like the destructive ones. They were, I think their race is Homo Destructus is what they called them.
Okay.
And they were unstable. After the Celestials manipulated their genes, they were unstable. And Thanos carries the gene. That's why he's purple. Unlike the rest of the Eternals, who are just normal color, he carries that deviant gene. But that's not what makes him fucking crazy. It's just he's Thanos. He's just fucking crazy.
So this is going to be important to the Thanos MCU theory and things that I saw. And I don't know this part from the comics. So we know in the movies, the Eternals that we saw, basically they had their memory wiped after every planet. To get more into that, they were sent in to prep a planet to help the life forms on the planet evolve and thrive to create energy for the celestial that is planted into the planet to come forth and be born. Basically, like there's like a gestation period of a celestial inside of a planet. Like their little celestial eggs are like laid inside these planets, and they need energy to grow, and it takes thousands to millions of years to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so these Eternals are placed onto these planets to help nudge things along, not necessarily interfere, but help them stay on path so they can advance, so the civilization doesn't die out, so it can generate enough energy that the celestial that is ingrained into basically the core of the planet can pull enough energy to burst forth and be born. Right?
Celestials are like those wasps that lay their eggs in the spiders and the other insects, and then they burrow out from within.
So the big question that's important, and that's something I would need to understand because I didn't find it or look for it, were if the Eternals in the comics also had this memory wipe situation, because that's what happened in the movies. They were basically created. They were more cybernetic in nature in the movie. They were creating, but their memories were wiped after each conquest, after each celestial birth. So they did not remember.
That's why they thought they left it. Their life was just their own, basically. They didn't realize it wasn't.
So was it like that in the comics as well? Did they have a memory wipe after?
I don't remember about the memory wipe. I know that they're effective. It basically Eternals, according to Jack Kirby, means like made in the image of God.
Yeah,
as close to image of God as you can be, which is why they have the long lifespan, the superpowers.
Uppercase or lowercase g, like how Ego says.
Uppercase, like uppercase. I don't remember that part. I don't, because it's like, so the Eternals played a part in Marvel's history, but they were never at the forefront of the Marvel history. So it's one of those that I never really got into them until later.
So here's what's a cool theory about Thanos and the Eternals and the things, rumors and theories and conspiracies and all that. We see in the movie that Athena suffers from, they called it mad weary, I believe, which they just saw it as some type of mental type disorder that she had, that she was losing it.
Yep.
She lost grips with reality, when in all actuality, she had a more firm grasp on what was really happening than everyone else.
Yep.
Because her memories of destroying these other planets, or these planets being destroyed as a celestial was born, were seeping through, and they were retained by her.
And
okay,
there's only so much info you can take.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
It's seen to them as, she's gone mad. Key that she's gone mad. Okay. I gotta readjust for this because it's gonna get good. Thanos being an Eternal, right?
Right.
We found out in the course of the movie that his making half the population disappear delayed the birth of the celestial. Was it Tiamat? Tiamat.
The communicator. Tiamat, the communicator.
That was, growing inside Mother Earth. Ooh. So he delayed. Presumably, whatever. Accidentally delayed that because the population was cut in half, which cut the power of, or the energy that can be generated by the Earth in half, right?
Right.
There are some things that he had said, talking about there must always be a balance to things and all this, that could be interpreted that he had done this before, not the population wiping, but had been involved with planets before as an Eternal. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Following me now?
Yeah.
And so the things that he was doing, he knew they needed to be done. He did not know why. He was subconsciously delaying the destruction of humanity by destroying half of humanity. He was seen as mad. I mean, he was called the Mad Titan.
He is called the Mad Titan.
Right? Mad weary, Mad Titan. Mm-hmm. And so...
Mad Sweeney.
Possibly his madness, his psychotic rages, the things that he did were him suffering from mad weary from his previous times as an Eternal.
I could see that.
And so he was delaying the destruction of mankind by destroying half of mankind. He's a bad guy, but he's not a bad guy.
I could see that. I would argue that, but I could see that.
Yeah. And I thought that was one of the more interesting theories that came from all this. And here's the thing. That's probably not how they planned it.
No.
It just there's some super nerdy high level guy at Marvel / Disney that's seeing this and this possible connection. It's just ooh,
let's do this.
We can do this because of this now. And if we put this out here, we got it. It's classic. It's not a retcon. It's I would call it the opposite of a retcon. I would call it a conveniently open-ended
con.
Conveniently open-ended con from the previous movies that now can be manipulated a little bit to carry on the storyline. And so they could come out because we had the introduction of Eros, Thanos' brother,
mm-hmm.
in the mid-roll, whatever you want to call it, the mid-roll mid-credit scene. And so that's kind of confirming more of his backstory, and that we saw his home planet was it an Endgame?
Endgame.
That we saw Titan. Was it Titan? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah.
That was Titan. Yep.
Utterly destroyed and void of life, like Earth would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that was his home world, quote unquote, because that's the last world he was at before he wasn't able to be reset and have his memory wiped, he had some of it linger.
I like that theory.
It's a really cool one. I don't know how much, meat's behind that, but
Yeah, it's a good theory. I mean, it gets you thinking.
it's very. I mean, I think it's possible. I know there's holes in it, all through it,
There's
And-
always holes and stuff.
and either Justin or B-Rob are just going to tear it apart in the Discord.
Oh, it's gonna be B-Rob. Justin's too busy with school right now.
Oh, good for him. I can't handle getting double teamed by those guys. One at a time, fellas.
Again.
But yeah, so I thought that was a really cool theory. And that builds off that Thanos being a deviant.
I like that theory though. I
Mhm.
really like that. So like the reason Thanos can fight the other Eternals, and kind of demolish them is because of his deviant DNA. It allows him to be stronger and he has more of a power set than the Eternals do.
So if he shows up in the multiverse of madness somehow, which I haven't even really seen anybody postulate that happening.
I don't know because
That'd be cool.
Thanos is it kind of had his time, but in the comics, Thanos was obsessed with Madame Death,
Mhm.
and which is death, and like he married her in one of the comics. She has a physical manifestation among the celestial beings, like Eternity, the Living Tribunal, stuff like that.
So if we see him somehow appear in Multiverse of Madness, would he be a deviant variant?
Yeah, I think he would be.
Okay.
I think he would be. I think that's a valid question raised.
So we went kind of far into the Thanos thing there, which I thought would be cool to do. We can talk briefly about, as briefly as we usually do, about the Eternals that we actually saw
In the movie.
and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Be 7.
8, 9, 10 of
Oh, there's
them.
10? Yeah, I guess there was.
There's 10. Also important. And there's one that I know that you're going to love to talk about that we'll throw out there. So we had Cersei, who became the leader about
Who
a
was
quarter.
an Avenger in the comics.
An Avenger in the comics. She's the empath. Her power is transmutation and has a strong bond with the humans. We
Great
had
character, and
cool character.
played by Gemma Chan in the movie, and who also played Minerva in Captain Marvel.
Ah,
She was one of the ones hunting Brie Larson.
cool. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah,
We had Icarus, Icarus is basically the
Superman.
Superman analog. His powers are very much Superman or Homelander, however you want to look at it.
They called him Superman in the movies.
Oh yeah, they did. I forgot about
Mhm.
that.
They called him.
Oh, I
Clark
loved
Kent.
how Marvel made the DC fiction canon
Yep.
in their superhero reality.
Which is awesome.
I loved that.
That was
Absolutely
awesome.
love that.
Icarus he's super powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Super powerful.
Super
really,
handsome.
really avoids relationship conflict.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot, like to the highest degree. He ends up kind of in the eyes of the rest of, or in 80% of the Eternals, he becomes the bad guy because he sides with the Celestials on wanting to, basically the events all lead to the destruction of mankind.
Right.
And he comes around at the end, finally, at the very end, and him and Cersei had a romantic relationship for thousands of years. And then instead of trying to talk it out with her, when she's like, "Oh, okay, well you did the right thing at the end. Let's talk about this." She's like, "Nope, fuck it. I'm flying into the sun. I don't want to discuss my feelings." So he just flies directly into the sun at the end of the movie and dies.
That kind of pissed me off because that originally wasn't the original ending for him.
Yeah, they took the name too literal.
Right, yep.
Oh, he's Icarus. We're going to do this.
Yep. So, and okay, something I don't remember if we mentioned this or not. I don't think we did, but the Eternals all have their names based off of human history.
Yep.
Like Icarus, Cersei,
Athena,
Gilgamesh.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Ajax, really good at cleaning up messes. You just put a little Ajax on it and you wipe it down. And
yes. Okay, go ahead.
But so then we have Kingo, who pretty much stole the show of the whole movie. Kingo was great.
Oh, Kingo was amazing.
His power basically shooting fireball from his hands and becoming a star in Bollywood. Those were his two superpowers. He was great in the movie. I loved it. I think I forgot the actor's name that played him, and I'll probably butcher it if I try to say it. But I want to say he got his start back in the day, like on College Humor and a few other things.
I think he did. I mean, he's a stand-up comic. He's well known in the industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani. Or is it Kunal? Let's look.
Then we had Sprite, who was the illusionist.
Kumail Nanjiani.
Portrayed in the movie as a small teenage
girl.
Which in the comics, angst. I think I saw where Sprite flip flop back and forth. Sometimes was male, sometimes female, sometimes pretty androgynous. Like it was, either or. And about halfway through the movie, I got to thinking, like, Marvel doesn't usually throw a character out there and then they're one and done in a movie.
Nope, not at
Very
all.
rarely. And Sprite was a cool character because Sprite had thousands of years of knowledge stuck in this little teenage body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, like, the actress that's playing Sprite is going to age up. How are they going to address this? And they did at the end of the movie. They basically made her human.
Yeah.
And so now she can get older, and so that fixed that.
Well, my favorite, honestly, so I thought, okay, so Eternals didn't do well in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Eternals has done very, very well on Disney Plus.
So do you think that is because this is the type of movie that you have to analyze?
I think, yeah. I think it's a combo of stuff. I think it's the type of movie you have to analyze. I think it's the second longest Marvel movie they got.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're still in the fucking middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Movies aren't what they used to be, the theaters.
No.
If this had been a non-pandemic year, I think it would have gotten a much better reception, but it's gotten actually I've been reading it, really positive reviews from the people who've watched it on Disney Plus.
I think it's better when you can sit down and really think about what you're seeing without the distraction of being in a movie theater.
Right. Well, and that's like you and I, we'll go see it when we're all pumped. We're like, that's fucking awesome. I love that. And then after we watch it at home, like 2 or 3 more times, like, oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that now I don't have subtitles at the movie theater.
That's true too.
So I miss a lot of stuff.
One of the things, let's talk about Sprite real quick for a sec.
Okay.
One of the things I loved in the movie is how Kingu compared her to Tinkerbell.
Yes.
Another Disney property. And then Icarus was her Peter Pan.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember in the stories, Tinkerbell was in love with Peter.
Yep. Tinkerbell loved the Peter.
Love the Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love Peter?
Their little fairy dust just goes everywhere. Starts thinking about Peter.
When she hit him with that fairy dust, he just stood up and crowed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Time. Wake up, Peter.
She just kind of flicked him a little,
Just a little pink.
Just a little pink.
Oh, there's our dick joke.
There's our dick joke. But no, I just thought it was really cool how they referenced Peter Pan in the thing. And if you look at the actress who played Sprite,
mm-hmm.
she kind of looks like every iteration you've seen of Tinkerbell too.
Well, it looks really like a lot like was it Julia Roberts in Hook?
Yeah, when she played Tink. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
After Tink she got a haircut towards the end of that movie, and I remember she's like, "Do you like it, Peter? You like my little fairy haircut?" Yeah.
I forgot about that, but yeah, no, I love Hook.
Hook is awesome. Oh, there you are, Peter.
Play.
Let's see. We talked about Sprite.
Wait. Hold on. Play. Here, flick it. Flick the.
Oh, over here. I can't from flick.
No, flick. Yeah, no, flick the spoon. Play.
God dang it. This is why we also do video.
Yep.
Oh shit!
You're welcome. Rufio.
I'm gonna bangarang on out of here. Fastos. I know this is one that you have talked about.
I love.
Have avoided
Fastos.
talking to me about until I had watched the movie.
Yep.
Because the implications again. This is another one. This is another really good example. And this is one of those things with Marvel. It could mean everything or it could mean absolutely nothing.
So he's one of the reasons that they started tanking the movie to begin with. Well, number one, Chloe Zhao is an avid. She speaks out against the Chinese government a lot. Mm-hmm. So China started a smear campaign against her. She cast Fastos, who is an openly gay character. A lot of the fanboys did not like that.
I'm going to just assume that deviated from the comics.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, they've always played around that some of these characters could be like bi. They go both ways.
Yeah.
But you didn't really do that in the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? In those
comic books.
Like
it happened in the 70s.
Yeah.
Not in the comics, yeah.
But not in the comics. But you know what I mean, though? Like,
yeah.
I think it was the 80s that North Star from Alpha Flight came out as gay, or maybe it was the early 90s. I don't remember, but that caused a whole big hubbub. Yeah. And the fanboys were just not happy about it.
Just like the recent uproar about Superman's son in the comic. I forgot his name.
Being gay.
Yeah.
Jonathan.
Yeah. And being the new Superman and being gay. Like, oh, new Superman's gay. And like, holy shit, the internet blew up.
Or Tim Drake, Red Robin is gay.
Yeah.
Or he's bi, but they're going to make him gay, full on gay. It's not that I have a problem with that. It's my problem with some of these it almost seems to me like sometimes that this is going to be an unpopular opinion, that maybe they're trying to do this to jump on the bandwagon now.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, oh, cool, we'll make him gay now. Lots of other artists are doing this now. Maybe we'll do this. And for me, I like the history of stuff. And then you go back and you retcon it or change it all of a sudden to that they're gay. It's not that I have a problem with it. I don't like changing the history of stuff. So, in the comics, sometimes I get over it.
Go off of with that one. I think if they just shoehorned it in, just to shoehorn it in,
mm-hmm.
I think they did a good job of not making him gay for the sake of making somebody gay. Like he has a family, he's married, adopted a son, and that gave him ties to Earth.
Right.
And so it wasn't just for, however you want to call it, either the inclusiveness or the shock value or whatever it was. Like he had a family and they like explored that. I mean, they had time to. They went for 3 freaking hours, so they had plenty of time to explore that.
See, and I loved that.
Yeah, and I appreciated that. Mm-hmm. That it was
his tie,
tastefully.
like you said. Yeah,
yeah, it was. Because I think if it's done and it's done for the sake of attention and done to be made a spectacle out of, it loses its value. And I think the way that it was done with him
mm-hmm. was well done.
Was well done. It wasn't, him being a gay character was the sole focus. Like that's his only identity. That was a part of his identity.
Right.
Just like you do anything, just like with Macarai, it wasn't her being deaf was her identity. It was a part of her identity.
Right. Who she was.
So it was who she was. Wasn't, Druig being a creepy, weird asshole wasn't all of his identity. But it was a part of his identity.
He just looks fucking weird anyway.
He's weird.
Creepy.
But I like what they did with Fastos. But the thing that I know that you really wanted to talk about was
the rings. Yeah, and his ability.
Not his marriage ring.
No.
But that and the other 9.
And the other 9. So let's talk about that. And I think you explained that a lot better than I did too, about not doing something for shock value. It's again, it's not that I have a problem with them being gay. Cool. It's great that the gay community has representation now, and we're at a point we can have representation of Asian heroes, gay heroes, all that. It's like you said, I don't want them to do it just for the shock value of stuff. Like, I'd be outraged if, like, the big thing was they became like, oh yeah, no, Superman's actually a chicken. And so is the Flash. They're part of a chicken race that infiltrated the.
I would watch the shit out of that movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, that might be kind of cool. But you know what I mean, though? It's not like, it's like just doing it just to do it. If there's actually a backstory and they flesh it out, I'm good with that.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do it just, and it's done well, not just to do, oh, hey, I'm a chicken today.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Before you guys start just going all over me about it. So Phastos, like you said, highly intelligent. If you go by the movie, he's the one who advanced human history.
Mm-hmm. And he wanted to a lot earlier on than he did.
But they wouldn't let him.
Because he wanted to give humans a steam engine early on. They're like, oh, they're not ready for this. And he's like, okay. What did he
give
make?
Them the wheel.
No, he didn't give them the wheel. He gave them a, was it a hoe or a shovel?
I can't remember.
Something very rudimentary. And he's like, I give you this. Shit, what was it? It was like a farm tool, basically is what it was, if I remember right. But
I don't remember.
And so he had Phastos, but the 10 rings.
10 rings. So if you noticed in the movie, he fought at the end there, he had these 10 rings on his fingers,
mm-hmm.
Not one finger. They did everything he wanted. They held Icarus. Like, they're strong as shit.
Yeah.
He's a genius. He's beyond a genius. In the comics, the 10 rings were actually rings on the Mandarin, like in Shang-Chi. They weren't these big things that go around your arms. They were actual rings. This could have implications that Phastos is the one who created the Mandarin's rings of power in the MCU. This could have been one of the weapons that he created, because if you remember, the Mandarin was thousands of years old.
Yeah. Could be. It was a plow. That's what he made. He's like, I give you.
It was a plow.
The plow.
Oh, that's right. It was the plow.
Yeah.
But
I thought I saw somebody else, another one of the Eternals, have rings on their fingers, though. Because I remember I was looking for that. But I think he was the only one that I saw that had 10 rings. And there was something else I noticed that he did. And this could just be a Marvel thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you notice when he was on the ship and he was doing his creating and doing all the manipulating and stuff.
Right.
And moving things with his hands and making, the visual diagrams of things that as he was working
like
those
Tony
out,
did. Right.
It looked very Stark-like.
Yeah.
So, and this, happens after, Tony's already dead. So, like, did he visit? Did he nudge that?
He might have.
That part, because that looks so familiar.
He might have. I don't know. I don't know when Phastos actually stopped advancing humans.
It was after.
Was it after he got married?
No, it was after World War II. It was in the movie. It was after Japan was bombed, because it showed him he's either Hiroshima or Nagasaki, one of the two. He was like at ground zero.
Oh, that's right.
And Cersei came to him, and he's like in tears. He's like, I gave them this, and this is what
they did with it. Yeah.
Yep.
Boo.
So there's our Phastos roundup and the potential connections to the 10 rings.
Yep. Makari,
speedster, very cool speedster.
The
also
original
deaf.
speedster. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I liked her character. They didn't give her enough play in the movie.
It was very minimal. Very minimal. They
didn't flesh her out.
She had
She was a klepto.
She had her low-key love interest with Druig.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was portrayed way younger than the actress that plays her. For one, because the guy that plays Druig wasn't that old, and I think she's like knocking on 40 or 50.
Is she really?
Oh yeah. Hold on here.
Is she really?
I think so. I really do. I could be so wrong. She doesn't look it. I
mean, Ming Na Wen is knocking on 60, and she looks phenomenal.
So she was born in 78, so she's 44. Wait,
that's not knocking on 50, you asshole.
44 is past 40.
I could have told you how old she was if you would have said 78.
Well, still, I mean, she's portrayed like I thought to be way younger than what she is.
She's portrayed to be in her 20s.
Yeah. And well, she's like thousands of years old. She looks good for her age.
Yeah.
Either as in the movie or in real life. Either way, she's thousands of years old or she's 44. Either way, she's held up really well. Unlike some of us. What? So then we have Druig.
Wait, you know where else we've seen her, right? That actress?
She was in Walking Dead.
Yep, she was Connie.
Yep.
That's the main one I knew her from.
Is she actually deaf?
I bet she is. So I bet she is, because Marvel's been really good about casting actors with disabilities with actual actors with disabilities.
And here's what's important about that. And we'll get to the rest of the Eternals later. But I mean, looking back at her movie, she's in Eternals. She was in The Walking Dead. She played in Sound of Metal, which was about the drummer that lost his hearing.
Right.
She played in a movie called If You Could Hear My Own Tune. She's deaf and she plays deaf characters. Here's something.
She was in Legacies. She was the dragon in Legacies.
That's important about that. And I did not think this would be the segue to it. I wanted to hit on this. So you notice that there was a wide variation of accents across your team of 10 Eternals. A wide variation.
Scottish, Irish, Korean.
Everybody all the actors were using their natural accent. So Marvel's had a thing of characters changing their accents up until now. Like Natasha Romanoff does not sound Russian at all. You have
Yelena does.
They even kind of poked at some other
Jeremy
things.
Renner.
Yeah, like they all hide their accents to be more Americanized or Englished or whatever. That they just like use your accent, use your normal. And so, her being deaf. Was she deaf in the comics?
So she was a dude in the comics.
Okay, so that was another gender swap.
Yeah.
There were a couple.
I don't remember if he was deaf or not, but she was a dude in the comic. Like his costume, if we're talking about the comics, him, is actually pretty cool looking. It's red with like a cowl, basically.
First deaf hero. I can't see anything.
Started out as a guy. I think they ended up changing her to a girl though.
Okay. Remember the Eternals. I don't see anything about. No, not because she played a deaf female version in the. Okay, so no. So that kind of stayed with that whole line of them keeping their natural whatever accents. Because we had Druig, who had a Irish accent, I believe, like a very heavy, sometimes awfully hard to understand Irish accent. Mm-hmm. He was the mind manipulator. He ended up running a cult. Really odd character, really weird. Reminded me of Bronn from Game of Thrones a lot.
Yep.
That was the joke I tried to send you that one day when we had we had Kit Harington, we have Cersei, and now we got Bronn. Basically, like if he would have been in a wheelchair, or if Gilgamesh would have been like Hodor at some point, I would have lost it. That would have been it. But I don't really have a whole lot to talk about on Druig. He was just weird. He's weird Irish mind controlling cult leader.
And creepy.
Creepy. But Gilgamesh, we do.
Gilgamesh
another
is awesome.
Another first. Really, was he the first Korean superhero portrayed, or I guess superhero portrayed by a Korean in?
I don't know. What's Wong?
I don't know.
Hold on. Let's look. Wong, MCU actor. I think. I don't know what. That's
so Gilgamesh is played by Don Lee. He's the first Korean actor to be in a major role in the MCU.
He's British. He's Chinese. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's the second Korean actor to appear in a Marvel film after Claudia Kim in Avengers: Age of Ultron. So he's the first Korean actor. Don Lee is the first Korean actor to portray here. So we have another first. Gilgamesh was a cool character, I thought. He was strong, you know.
They changed his character from the comic too.
Okay, so what kind of change did we get?
Well, Gilgamesh was he in the comic, I'm trying to remember the full history, but basically he was an Avenger for a time.
Okay.
He became Gilgamesh. He changed his name to Gilgamesh after he wore this. He was in exile for a while. And he was the forgotten one in the comics.
Okay.
I can't remember what he did. I think he killed another Eternal is why they banished him, if I remember correctly.
Okay. In the comics, was he Thena's quote unquote bodyguard?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I don't. But he was, yeah, they called him the forgotten one in the comics.
Okay.
And he would come back to help them. They changed his name to Hero at one point too after he came back to help them.
Well, he's dead now.
He's dead.
Yeah. Cool character.
I liked him. I thought he was a great character.
He was probably one of my favorites out of the whole group, probably after King and yeah.
And he was never in a hurry.
Never in a hurry. Then we had Ajax, who was also gender swapped for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's originally a male in the comics, played by Selma Hayek. They said they did that swap, the Ajax swap, because they wanted Selma Hayek, they wanted the Ajax character in the movie because one being a healer, it's the healer. Ajax was the healer and the spiritual leader of the Eternals. Had the ability to speak to the Celestials. They wanted Ajax to present as a more motherly type character. And so they went with Salma Hayek.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could really see that, actually.
Who's also dead in the movie now.
I liked her character.
I did. I liked her. We're getting ready to get unpopular here, I got a feeling. I liked her way better than Thena.
Thena's character was worthless in the movie.
I was not a fan of the character, one, in the movie, or Angelina Jolie's acting in the role.
She's kind of a side note.
Yeah, and that was one of the big sells for this movie is you got Angelina Jolie in a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
And she was either really tired throughout the movie or she was overacting it. Like over dramatizing a lot of things. That's how I took it. She did a better job than I could playing, the goddess of war.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it. Her story was critical to the whole thing. But yeah. Do we want to go through the quick rundown of the movie?
No.
I didn't think so.
We could, but it would.
We've been going for a bit already, and we're about to get to the interesting stuff.
Well, and here's the other thing. We can go for the quick rundown. Eternals is about the progression of Earth, human evolution.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And
Earth gets knocked up by a celestial egg. Then Earth is basically a big fucking Kinder egg, right?
Didn't even get an Uber ride.
Mm-mm. Yeah, and then Eternals were there to babysit, make sure people keep making babies and getting smarter. So then the celestial baby can be born forth through the egg of Earth.
Yep.
And they stopped it from happening, and it only kind of breached the surface, and now
Well,
it's stuck out there in the ocean.
It was a breach, baby.
Mhm.
You got to remember too that if you remember our rumors episode, I think it was the rumors episode. The way that Cersei changed her powers, that's what's rumored to be the kickstart to the mutants. There's a theory that we might have seen the mutants because of this now.
Oh, because her powers evolved after
Completely evolved, and she got super strong. And remember how when she touched the Celestial, like everything changed and morphed and evolved. And
she's very like Jean Greyish at that moment.
She is Omega level mutant. I would consider her a mutant at this point because her power set evolved.
See, the thing that I saw that where we could have mutants coming from this was from the deviant vomit. Didn't one of them puke on Icarus?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yep, that's where we're getting it. We're getting mutants are coming from deviant puke. But he flew to the sun, so take that for whatever.
So okay, end credits.
End credits. I think the stuff that happened here in these two little end credit things were not just as big. Were very big, like in the events to come, like worth the movie happening.
Well, the first we saw was the appearance of Pip.
Yep, voiced by Patton Oswalt, the oddly animated
awesome.
Pip. Like that looked a little weird.
He did. They could have done a better job on that.
Mm-hmm.
But so Pip the Troll, his history with Marvel is actually quite fascinating. He was actually like a human-like character.
Yeah.
Beautiful character. And then his
beautiful
got
man.
The better of him. Beautiful man.
Woman.
And he got turned into Pip, who is an alcoholic, constantly on drugs, looking for the next good time, a gambler, just smells bad, just like it's a troll. He's a troll.
Basically, they took my life story.
You smell better.
I guess.
Not by much. But Pip is he was one of the keepers of the Infinity Gems. He was part of the Infinity Watch with Adam Warlock. Why is this important? Adam Warlock has been confirmed for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Adam Warlock was mentioned in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. At the end when, what was her name? Aisha, who was so if Thanos was considered the bad, Aisha was, I think it was Aisha. She was considered the good.
Okay.
They were the, two opposite ends of the spectrum.
But now we think Thanos may not be so bad.
Not so bad.
He's not so bad. He's not such a bad guy.
Adam was referenced in the Cocoon. Adam was the keeper of the Soul Stone. Pip in the comics, he had the Space Stone. I think it was the Space Stone. The one that lets you teleport.
Yeah. He
kept it in his butthole.
Huh.
His goat butthole.
The old prison wallet.
This has huge implications.
That particular fact that he kept it in his butthole has huge implications?
No. I mean,
that's extremely specific.
If you're ever looking for a good place, if you don't want to forget where you left something, just stick it in your butthole.
So if you have an Infinity Stone, you're like, what do I do with this? Just boop. Right up the old sphincter. Okay.
God, can you imagine if you put the Power Stone up there? Oh, I got to go to the bathroom. You would literally demolish that toilet.
If Thanos... Hold on. If Thanos would have employed that theory, it wouldn't have been the great snap, because Thanos had an ass on him.
It would have been the big...
It'd have been the great clap. He just clapped them cheeks.
Bum, 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 bum.
You guys hear that?
Gone.
He's just out there just twerking and just...
Hey, Eternals, what is it's Taco Tuesday. Yeah, let's invite Eros over. We're gonna invite Icarus. We're gonna invite I guess Druig. He's kind of creepy, but he always knows what I want to eat. How about Thanos? No, we're having beans.
You're gonna clap them cheeks.
Can't do it.
Where were we going with that?
something about butt
The
cheeks?
introduction of Eros / Star Fox. I hope he does a barrel roll. I'm really excited for that to happen. Like, I just want somebody to tell him to do one.
Let's see.
No? I thought that was a good.
No, I'm trying to think of how to work that in because I was trying to think of what other character looked like the other characters. And they're like, I was going, was there a Peppy? No.
Pietro?
Peppy Pietro.
Hmm.
I don't know. No, I was trying to play off it, but I couldn't think of
You're
one.
close to whatever you're trying to do. I can see it.
Yes, I'm
But
right on the cusp, but I just can't. I can't get there.
Dang.
No,
Could have been gold.
sorry. Yeah, I fucked that up for you.
That's fine.
I was trying to think. God, what was I?
It'll come back to you.
Yeah, after we get done.
Probably. Put it in the show
Okay.
notes.
Continue. Okay, barrel roll. Wait.
I looked at the artwork of Eros from the comics. Harry Styles is pulling that look off really well.
Very, very well.
Like,
So-
that's spot on. Because when I saw, that's another thing I had no knowledge of, right? Like, you've talked about it, that, we're probably going to see his brother.
Yep.
But I never did look to see what he looked like. So when I first saw him, I was like, that's kind of cheesy. Then I looked
But
at
he
it up,
looks
like,
exactly like Arrow.
that's pretty spot on. That's
So,
really good. Harry Styles.
So Star Fox comes from Eros. Eros is the god of love or lust. I can't remember in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
So his power set in the comics is kind of creepy. I don't think it would. It won't fly now. That's why I'm interested to see what they're going to do with him. He can manipulate your passions, your
Oh, yeah.
desires,
He can make you fall in love with him.
or
be
get you
lu-
horny,
Lust after
or
him.
or on the opposite end,
So what
he
you're
can make you
saying,
hate.
that set of powers is the one direction that they don't want to take Harry Styles' character.
I mean,
Come on, that was a good one.
that was a great one. I mean, he does light up my life like nobody else.
Bitch, I'm out.
See,
Yeah.
I was waiting to play off that.
You're setting it up. I know.
One.
I just soft tossed it over there to you, and you took a swing at it.
But yeah, so I don't know. With today's cancel culture, I don't know how they're going to do this.
I think it could be done. They just have to do it very carefully. Like, they would have to 100% make him creepy about it,
Mm-hmm.
and then he would 100% have to face repercussions for it. That's the only way I think that you can do it.
Well, see, the thing is, so they
and
describe
like
in the
hellacious
comics-
repercussions.
Yeah. Well, you got to remember too. You can do love and hate. He can manipulate. Like, they're both super strong emotions.
Yeah.
He can make you hate something.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Maybe he'll do that more. Maybe stick to that one. So
Next,
we talked about Eros. We talked about Pip the Troll. Kit Harington. Okay, so this is the end credits.
Whitman. Well, okay. Well, Dane was in there from the get-go, though.
Yeah,
The character.
the character was there. I
Dane-
didn't know who the character was. I know you did.
I love that. I love Black Knight.
And another thing where I've done some like reading and stuff, like, this looks like a really cool character. Like, I'm really excited to see this character play out. Go ahead. Tell us what you
at the
know.
end. Well, explain what happened at the end.
So at the very end, this was after everything kind of went to shit again, like it went to shit, and the living Eternals had to go face judgment by I forgot his name already. The Celestial, the judge,
The Arbiter.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Starts with an A. Whatever,
Asshole.
big red dude.
Ashram.
Acheron. Yeah. And so it was shown earlier in the film that he was a college professor, I believe. Like maybe an archaeologist or a sociologist, some type of history preference in his teachings.
Something like that.
So he goes back to his office, and I don't remember exactly what was said. I do remember there was a case sitting on his desk. He opens it, and there's a sword there, black sword. he goes to reach for it, and you could see the almost like the Damascus look in the blade in the metal. You know how you get the swirls like in Damascus steel.
Mhm.
It kind of had that swirl, but it started moving. The black on the blade started moving towards his hand in a fashion that we have seen before. Very recently, actually, in another end credit. The way stuff, we got a nod to it in another end credit. Very symbiotically.
Yes.
I mean,
I know where you're going now.
It just kind of like it wanted to attach itself to him.
Yep.
And then we hear a voice, and what did the voice say? I forgot. It's, are you sure you want to? What did he say?
What's up?
Are you sure you're ready for? You just hear me clickety typing.
Oh.
What did he say to him? Divided. Erisham was the bad guy there. Why does it not say what he says? Is it, are you ready to?
Are you sure you're ready? Something like that.
Something like that. A voice off screen. We didn't see the face. The voice was uncredited in the credits. But you know who the voice was.
Blade.
Blade. It was Blade.
I wish they would have shown him. That would have had a hell of a lot more impact.
Yeah, it was very sneaky. And so now we had the introduction just in the post credits of 1, 2, 3, 4 new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, new super characters. So we see the beginnings of Kit. I guess this is going to be him becoming the Black Knight.
Technically, he already, because he's just like opening it.
The sword was handed, like his grandfather was the original, I believe, right? Or originally wielded the sword.
Well, according to this, like, it's a long history. His family has a long history of it in the comics.
It's going back to like King Arthur times, I believe.
Yeah, medieval times.
Which we saw, earlier in the movie, we saw Athena have Excalibur. Like she manifested Excalibur, or she had Excalibur, one of the two. So there's like a slight nod to King Arthur's court there. If Black Knight went back to that time, which I think he did, the hero itself. So,
right. So, you want to talk about the Black Blade, the Ebony Blade, real quick?
Do I want to?
Do we want to?
Yeah, you can if you want to talk about that and Black Knight briefly. And
so we can. So Black Knight. So in the comics, the Black Knight were the guardians of the Ebony Blade. The Ebony Blade. Why this is so important with Blade being introduced? Blade's what, half vampire, right? He's a vampire hunter. There's a parallel between the Ebony Blade and vampires. The Ebony Blade in the comics drinks blood. It was forged from a meteorite, and it slowly changed. So, what was it with Excalibur? Who could wield Excalibur? It was the pure of heart, right? Mm-hmm. Ebony Blade is the opposite. You have to be corrupt at heart to wield the Ebony Blade to bring out its true potential. Literally, the blade's sentient, and it hungers for blood of men. And the Black Knights were tasked with controlling that bloodlust, right? And then the recent 10, 15 years in the comics, you find out that they've changed the power set a little bit. They've added on, it consumes souls, and then those souls are transformed into energy. And because of how many souls it's fed on, it has the potential literally to destroy entire worlds. It's probably one of the most powerful objects in the entire Marvel universe.
Okay.
And it can, so like you're hurt and you, let's say, stab someone, right? It'll drink the blood and its energy, the soul. It'll heal you. It effectively makes its controller, the Black Knights, immortal. to a degree. Like, it's a phenomenal weapon.
And so, from what I've seen, and I may be interpreting this completely wrong, but it makes sense in the way that we saw, because we're talking about symbiote, right?
Right.
That sword, it's a living sword dealing death, is a descendant of the sword that Null created to decapitate a Celestial.
Yep.
And that sword was the first symbiote. Null is like
he's the god
of the void and created the symbiotes and all that stuff. So we're seeing, some Venom stuff. That sword, he killed a Celestial, chopping its head off with a sword that was a symbiote. Like, there's all these things.
Right. Well,
Did he decapitate? Was it Nowhere that he decapitated?
I think so. So in the comics, the Celestials are light.
Mm-hmm.
Null is the god of the darkness, the dark world, the dark universe. So he's celestial grade, basically.
And he's attempted to lay claim to the Ebony Blade at one point.
Yes, because the Ebony Blade can actually kill him.
Huh. Oh, well, there we go. That's where we're going to go with all of it, I think.
So, and then
we got Celestials. I think we're going to be introduced to Null at some point.
I don't know if they are or not. It depends if Sony, because I don't know who has the rights to Null. If it's Sony or if it's Marvel.
Let's see, who owns
Sony
the
or the
rights?
Mouse?
He's a fairly new character.
Yeah, no, he's only come about in the past 10 years.
First appeared in Venom, so there's a big guess that Sony has it. But Sony's smart play is going to be to partner with Disney for anything that they want to do with any of those characters that they have.
Actually, if he's a new character, though, Marvel might have that.
This is 2018 when he was introduced.
I bet Marvel has the rights then.
Did they acquire everything in 2018?
I mean, they got a lot of stuff back. But Sony's never, ever going to let go of Spider-Man.
Well, no, but they own rights to characters primarily associated with Spider-Man as well.
But this is a brand new character, though. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. What do you guys think? You tell us.
Interesting to see. I think it could be really, I don't know. I'm still saying if Marvel or if Disney's like, hey, we want to use this character, someone's going to pay us for it, and then Marvel's going to do it, that'd be the smart move.
Right.
Because they're going to ride that Spider-Man high horse as long as they can.
100% they will.
Yeah.
And then the last thing we have on here with the introduction of Blade.
Mm-hmm.
They're hinting at the Midnight Suns. The Midnight Suns were a group of kind of anti-heroes. They were the ones in the darkness. Blade's a half vampire. He paired with a full vampire named Hannibal, who killed his own kind like Blade.
Yeah.
They also paired with Ghost Rider. This could be how they bring Ghost Rider in. There's also talk that what's his name? Shane Bernthal?
John Bernthal, who played Shane in Walking Dead.
Who played the Punisher in Netflix. They kind of confirmed that he's going to be playing Punisher in the MCU yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay.
He could have an appearance in the Midnight Suns because the Midnight Suns, they are tasked with all the bad shit. Like, that was one of my favorite comics, was Midnight Suns in the 90s. And it was dark because that's where we got the Darkhold. Remember I referenced the Darkhold?
Not to be confused with the Dark Hole, where you hide your Infinity Stones.
With Pip.
With Pip.
The Darkhold, you remember back in when we were watching WandaVision in Agatha's basement, and I said that could be the Darkhold, and they pretty much confirmed that that was the Darkhold. That could all come in big circle. That's where they introduced Lilith also, who was, do you remember who Lilith is?
Mm-mm.
Supposedly Adam's first wife. Now Satan's mistress, Satan's wife. She's the
Oh.
mother. She's the mother of all demons, of all monsters.
So that's how we get Mephisto.
That's how we Mephisto.
Well, I can see. So you're talking about the Midnight Sun. So
Right.
you're seeing some groupings starting to happen. I know we're getting close to wrapping it up, but this light bulb went off, and I got to get it out, or I'll forget it.
No, do it.
So we're starting to see these groupings, and you mentioned this earlier with Jack Kirby and his thing being cosmic based comics, right? So we're starting
Phenomenal cosmic power.
phenomenal cosmic powers, itty bitty living space. So we're seeing these things starting to group up.
Right
now, we got the cosmic stuff with Eternals, possibly or very likely Fantastic Four. We're having these things group up that are all going to come back to what I'd like to refer as, and people are going to hate it, the Avengers universe, the stuff that's happening on Earth, that's really Earth focused, your day-to-day people type things. So you have the cosmic things, and there's a theme amongst all of them. You have, and that's going to, I think that includes Guardians of the Galaxy, it includes all your Guardian stuff, just because of the space travel, Thor to an extent. But I think we're going to see some more stuff with Thor because there was a run of legendary influence, like mythical and legend influenced characters throughout Marvel that kind of fit in that whole Thor universe.
Yep.
Thor's going to keep going. We're going to keep seeing that. But then you have what we're talking about with with Blade, Ghost Rider, Punisher to an extent. That's a very dark, almost not paranormal, but what's the word I'm looking for?
I know what you're going for, but
Yeah.
I can't think of the word.
But a very spooky set of people. Macabre.
Macabre.
Because you got vampires, you got an actual flaming headed ghost. You've got Punisher who just wears a skull.
He's not a ghost. He's a demon.
A demon is just a ghost that's going through some things. And so you get this type of stuff. And so you're seeing these groups, these very defined groups.
A demon is a ghost who's going through some things.
Possibly.
He's laid on his bills. Go on.
Laid on his bills. But you see what I'm talking about? You're seeing these groups starting to form.
Which is what Marvel does, the big picture.
Marvel does. That's what happened with the comics. That's where you get all these stories. They're all loosely tied. They're showing their ties through like the end credits or these little nods here and there. And then you're going to start, I think you're going to start seeing these characters. They'll be possibly introduced. You have several of them introduced in the main push, right?
Right.
Your main Avengers storyline that's running through.
Right.
Then you have all the little offshoots that they're going to drop into these buckets of leagues and associations and things. And like, you were talking about them being like a group kind of like of anti-heroes. The first thing that I automatically think of when I hear anti-hero is Deadpool, but I don't see Deadpool fitting the dynamic of the spooky group.
I can see him coming in and fucking with him, going,
yeah,
hey, Blade, I got your glasses. Boop.
Yeah, and that's like the cool thing where they could drop, you have your little cameos and things pop in, but they're all going to have their battles to fight that fit within the realm of the things that they're associated with. So that's where I can see that.
I can see that. I see what you're going with that.
Yeah. I'm having a really hard time putting that into words. The thoughts are there. It's late and I'm tired, but I think we're going to start seeing some more of that. That's how you're going to get a lot of characters introduced.
It's just stuff like that.
I like it because it's just like with the comics, you've got different styles. You have different storylines and things. Like we were talking about the Max comics that are, grittier and rougher around the edges. And, and that I like the gritty stuff because I've talked about that so much about how I like the DC stuff and how they do things and they just keep dropping the ball.
Yeah.
And so you're going to start, maybe this is how they're going to start giving those different flavors, all still in the same universe, so they can, beg, borrow, and steal and make cool cameos and make all this cool crossover shit happen. But you're going to have all these, you're going to have less mainstream stuff to really focus on some of the audiences, and which can be a really good thing or it can be a really bad thing. If they don't give it their full effort and make it quality, it's going to suck. It's going to be shit because they're going to half-ass it, and you're going to be able to tell. But if they put good effort into it, and you're like, okay, these are the ones that I like.
Mhm.
You know, I can see myself being drawn to a Blade, Ghost Rider, Punisher team and line
It's
of
going to hit a
movies.
whole different set of fans.
Right. So that was
No,
my thought I wanted to get out before we
No,
wrap
and
it
I'm
up.
glad you did, because I think that's exactly accurate.
Because you like the cosmic stuff. You love Fantastic Four. It's like,
Love Fantastic Four.
you know, just from the shows that we've done, I'm going to say that's like top 3, if not the very top. Like your
X-Men are my top.
Yeah.
X-Men have always been my top. Fantastic Four is definitely top 3.
Yeah. And so you lean heavier towards the cosmic stuff.
I love the cosmic stuff. Yeah.
Which me,
Korvac, Skrulls.
I would like, because I love horror and things that are darker and grittier and scary. And I would really, if I had a choice, I would gravitate towards, you know, this group of movies as opposed to the cosmic stuff.
That's why I think you're going to do well with Morbius.
Yeah, I'm excited. Just the trailer for that. I was like, yep, I'm for this. And that would probably fall in with this as well. So there we go.
Yeah, it was great. Another reason we went on this too is Kyle actually sent us this earlier this week. There's going to be a huge event in 2022 in the comics. That event is what?
I already forgot what I sent. What did I tell you?
X-Men
bitch
versus Avengers.
Oh, in the comics. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Versus
the Eternals. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to have a 3-way.
Yep. Not a good one.
Not a good one.
Not like the kind on like you'd have to, it was all fuzzy and stuff when you're grown up.
Yeah. They're going to be battling out, and Deadpool's going to show up with the lube. Just like here to help things go a little smoother.
Pegging. Yeah. So, yep. I mean, what do you guys think? Are we wrong? Are we right?
We're probably wrong.
We're probably wrong.
I feel like we were extremely right on so many things. So,
we could have been. So, yeah.
Like it. Add it to your list. Tell your friends. Pass it along. Share it. Hit that share button. Hit the like buttons. Hit the sub or follow button. Help us out a little bit. Be cool. You're only cool if you do that.
Be cool, man.
Yeah, be cool about it, dude. So.
Well, with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And wherever you guys are, please have a great evening, night, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and be good to each other.
Nerd
Yeah.
culture
See ya.
rise up. It could get elevated. Nerd culture rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made-up word. MCs shied away.